Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And on today's show, it is the quarter poll. We're going to be giving out grades for the Carolina Panthers. We're breaking it down by position group. So we're going to start off at quarterback because that's just where you start, right?
Now, are we grading on a curve of what we expected, or
I think that's up to the individual grader.
Okay.
Each professor gets to choose if they curve on a grade or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that a couple of mine are definitely graded on a curve.
Oh, okay. I think I'm our mean teacher then, because I don't think I put curve on mine.
I'll kick it off with quarterback. Teddy has played well.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely probably cost us one game.
Yeah.
With his turnovers. And I don't think he's been spectacular, but I gave him a B-. I think he's been solid. He's been what we expected, I think, honestly.
And that is exactly what I gave him. Exact same reasons. He's played really well at times, but that Tampa Bay game, he looked really bad and made us question if he was the guy or not.
Yeah.
But he's been consistent. I still think his deep passes need more accuracy. It seems like they're not as accurate as they should be. But overall, solid. I mean, he's helping us, this team, win games, not lose it, except for one. So
yeah, he's an upgrade over Kyle Allen last year.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now,
all right, let's move on.
Running back. I went B+. We had Christian for just 2 games. He really didn't get his feet wet, but Mike Davis has stepped in very nicely, plugged in. This one I kind of gave a curve for Mike Davis just because he stepped in and he's looked really good. I give him a B+. Solid job, guys.
Yeah, this one I also gave a curve on, and I went with an A, actually, just because Mike Davis has been a very pleasant surprise, especially in the receiving game. There's no drop-off, really, between him and McCaffrey in the receiving game, at least in terms of production so far. So, well done, Mike Davis. Looking forward to Christian coming back, and I fully expect it to continue to be an A. Wide receiver,
I have a B-. I know this is going to be kind of controversial. Now, Robbie Anderson, he's getting the A+. DJ Moore, I just was expecting more out of him this year. And same with Curtis Samuel. I kind of was expecting more explosive plays where they make a guy miss or two and then go the long shot. They've been playing well, just not to my lofty expectations. I guess that's why I gave him a B-. But Robbie Anderson's up at an A. I'm not knocking him at all.
I actually gave the wide receivers an A- because Robbie Anderson is like a top 10 wide receiver this year. Like, he's really good. I fully expect DJ Moore to come back at some point and retake the number 1 role on the team. I think Curtis Samuel has played better than I expected, especially once they kind of started getting him the ball. I think he's made some key catches in tough spots. So this one, probably another one I'm giving a grading on a curve, just because Robbie Anderson is so much better than I expected him to be. I thought he was just going to be a one-trick pony. I thought he was going to be a deep threat, and that's it. But he has been the real deal, the full wide receiver experience. So A- for me on wide receiver.
Sounds good. Tight end, I gave them a D. They haven't had many passes going their way. Don't know if that's offense or scheme, but I have also seen them drop a couple passes and whiff on huge blocks. So I'm giving them a D because they're non-factors and they're actually causing us more harm than good sometimes in the blocking.
Yeah, I gave them an F. I have seen nothing. And then, like you said, they've actually cost us a couple of times. If Manhurts would have made that catch in the end zone last week where he had to like reach around some guy, I may have actually bumped it up a whole letter grade just because that would have been an incredible catch. But
I mean, it was pass interference.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it was. But yeah, like you said, non-factor. They're just not even a part of the offense. And like, you think that it's probably scheme. I think it's more talent. It doesn't really matter because they're not being used.
Yeah. I gave them a D. It's not like I'm
right. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're too high on them, Jerry. All right, let's move to O-line.
O-line. This one's kind of difficult for me because they've given up 8 sacks. So that's 2 sacks per game. Not bad. But at the same time, Teddy's been under pressure. The holes weren't opening up for the running game that much yet. I give them a B-. Greg Little had a really good game last week. The whole O-line had a really good game last week. And they are trending upward, but I don't think they've solidified to be in that A category yet.
This is another one that I'm grading on a curve because I gave them an A. Okay. I think based on what I expected, they have been far superior. Giving up, I think the last couple of games they've given like 1 sack the last 2 games combined or something. I think Teddy has been getting time, and the rushing lanes have been opening up. We just unfortunately don't have Christian McCaffrey back there to take advantage of them. But last week, both Reggie and Mike Davis were able to find a lot of running room. So this one, you're probably right. It is probably more like a B. But based on what I expected and what they're giving me, I'm happy to give them an A because I think they've done a very good job, especially with the injuries. I mean, they patched this thing together, and
and you're right. Like I said, I wasn't using the curve on the team. I was just kind of going where a team would rank overall.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Let's go on to the defense, starting off with the defensive line. First 2 games, again, kind of drag this grade down. I give them a C. They really got no pass rush. Now, if it was the first 2 games, it would probably be in the D category. But against the Chargers and the Cardinals, we got some pass rush. Our defensive line started getting some tackles for losses, stuffing the running back. So it bumped them up from those 2 games to a C. The last 2 games, it would probably be closer to a B+. So,
yeah, I gave them a C+, for most of the same reasons. I'd like to see more sacks. We're not getting a ton of sacks. We have upped the pressure the last 2 weeks, like you said. We're getting more quarterback hits. But even last week, I think we only had 1 sack. So I definitely would like to see them getting to the quarterback more and getting him on the ground. And they have, I feel like they have caused. They have caused some turnovers. Caused a couple sack fumbles, but I just need to see a little more sacks.
Yeah, I get you.
That's what the D-line's for. I mean, they're doing a fairly good job stopping the run the last few weeks. Not giving up a ton of big plays. Derek Brown's really stepped up the last couple of weeks. He's looked a lot better. Gross Matos finally made a nice play last week. So they could be coming together, but they're in the C range right now.
Yeah, and I'm expecting them to forecast maybe get to Matt Ryan, who they like to have longer pass plays than we've faced. So, because a lot of the quarterbacks we face like to get the ball out as soon as they get it. So,
yeah.
Oh, linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker's fine. This is my lowest grade on the defense. I'm giving them a C-. Again, I think just like most of the defense, they have looked better the last couple of weeks. Shaq has definitely started to turn it on a bit. But Tahir Whitehead has sort of just been a waste of space out there, mostly. Jeremy Chin has looked good, although is he a true linebacker? I don't know. That is where they're playing him mostly. So C-, and maybe that's even generous. But like I said, the last couple of weeks, they've turned it up a little bit.
Yeah. I have C- as well. Jermaine Carter has looked better than Tahir Whitehead, and I wouldn't be shocked if he started pretty soon over him. Shaq has turned it on the past 2 games, but the first couple games he was kind of a non-factor. Jeremy Chin's just a tackling machine out there. Again, this team gave up so many yards in the first couple games that it's hard to rank them that high. But I do see them trending upward. Not Whitehead, but just in general.
Yeah. They definitely are looking better. I think Shaq is starting to feel a little more comfortable out there as the guy. And then Chen has just sort of stepped in like he's been there for 3 years. Like he's, and I can't wait to see how good he actually gets. Because right now he's very good.
He's just, right now, he's a raw talent just running around there with his athletic freakishness, making tackles. And when he starts getting the game plan, understanding it, when the game slows down for him, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, and just real quick, look at PFF here. Shaq is up to 20th out of the 79 linebackers, and a couple of weeks ago he was like next to last.
Yep.
So that shows you just how good he's been the last couple of weeks. Tahir Whitehead is next to last. He is 78th out of 79.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy Chin, they've got 75th out of 80, but they've got him listed as a safety. It seems like he goes back and forth between safety and linebacker on there. So I don't really trust PFF's ratings on him at all because they don't seem to rank him by his position.
No. And when you watch the game, you see him flying around and making tackles and making plays. He hasn't had that big splash plays, but he's solid. He's leading the team in tackles. He's leading all rookies in tackles right now. I mean, that's good news.
All right, cornerback. Let's talk about a good position before we go to a bad position.
I have the cornerbacks rated as a B. And this is, again, not on a curve compared to where I expected them. If I was grading on a curve, they would be at an A+. Rasul Douglas came in and has been wonderful. Dante Jackson has been playing steadily, not breaking down in coverage. Surprise, surprise, another one. Corn Elder has been playing really well out there. I'm giving them B overall because if you again, not grading on a curve, A.
I gave him an A. And I gave him an A, and I don't even know if you have to grade him on a curve to give him an A. I think they've been playing really well. They've been turning the ball over. They've been stopping big plays. They haven't really given up massive plays, especially after week 1. Rasul Douglas has been a revelation, like you said. I mean, for a guy that we picked up for nothing, couldn't have done any better. Corn Elder, like you said, he's sort of like, where has this guy been for the last 2 years or whatever? I mean, he's come in and he's played very well. And Dante is playing within himself. He's not trying to do too much. He's, he's playing very well. So I'm very happy with where this cornerback crew is. And they're all young guys. They're just going to get better. Whoever we've got coaching the D-backs right now is doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Now safety.
All right. Safety, a D for me. They have been very, very poor. Justin Burris made like a couple of nice plays last week. Otherwise, he would have just be completely in my doghouse. But Trey Boston has just not looked great. Again, they've got Jeremy Chin listed as a safety sometimes, but we all know he pretty much plays the linebacking position, even though if he's not listed as one. So I don't include him in here. But a lot of what we give up is just right over the middle in that safety territory. Our corners have been so good. We haven't really needed safety help over the top that much. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to grade the safety position because they're sort of helpers to everyone. But I'm giving them a D just because I haven't seen the good play, especially out of Trey Boston that we saw last year.
Yeah, I'm giving them a C-. Same reasons. Trey Boston, I believe, had a pass interference the other week. It's exactly what you said. He hasn't really shown out like we expected. Justin Burris has blown some The positive, they have not given up big plays. So
and just looking at PFF real quick, Justin Burst 62nd out of 80, Trey Boston 48th out of 80, which is actually up from where he was a couple of weeks ago. And then again, Jeremy Chin 75th out of 80. They've got him listed there, but even PFF's not impressed with the Panthers safeties. Coaches, what do you think?
This is kind of difficult because I give him a B+, but in my heart, I want to give him an A because the improvement that this team has. Because from week 1 to this week, it's a completely different team. They look different. They're playing different. They're tougher. I mean, so I said B+. I'm actually going to go with the A because of that. They did make some mistakes.
I'm changing your grade on the fly. Okay.
They made mistakes early on, but they were young too, and I'm giving them an A just because they have shaped this defense and this team up in 4 weeks very well.
Yeah, I'm going with a B+, and I'm going to stick with it just because I think there's a lot of room for improvement. But they have done great. I mean, this is a coaching staff that was in college last year and has never coached in the NFL, other than a year or two here and there as deep assistants almost. So I do like that they are adaptable. I like that they have seen where they have made mistakes. They've owned up to those mistakes and they fix those mistakes. Matt Rule specifically called out that they were not getting enough pressure on the running back or the quarterbacks, and cited statistics to go along with it. And the next week they had like 18 quarterback pressures or something. I mean, they're definitely showing that they want to improve, that they're looking at that stuff. They're looking at their analytics. They're doing what they need to do. And I'm super impressed. Like I'm excited about the future of the Matt Rule era here.
Me too. You're talking about statistics and how they've owned up. Another thing I saw them do is, remember when the Cardinals made that late change and Zach Kerr got to do that? He walked out there.
Leisurely jog to the
and the reason they were doing that was so the defensive coordinator could see their formation, see everything they can, and that way he would be better prepared. That's something.
And it was burning a little clock as well.
Yeah, and that one time it cost them a timeout because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something we didn't see in the past. It's a smart coaching move.
Yeah. I'd like to see a little more creativity on the offense, I think, in terms of some reverses. I'd like to see some more fun stuff on the offense. They're obviously scoring points, so no real complaints. But I'd like to see them do a few, add some wrinkles in there.
Some ends around,
some in arounds, that stuff is fun to watch. Like, is it great football? I don't know, but it's fun to watch.
I mean, end arounds that get you 5-6 yards on first down, I think. And, it helps out the running back because that linebacker on the outside always has to keep the monitor whenever you get him, the receiver coming across.
And do it with somebody other than Curtis Samuel, because they have figured out that that's what Curtis Samuel does. And they stop him like behind the line every time.
Fast, athletic guy too.
Robbie Anderson, you could do it with any of the wide receivers, honestly. Robbie Anderson's probably the fastest one on the team. So do it with any of them.